Hello, one and all, and welcome. I know it's been a while. It's been a busy couple of days for me in relation to college, but welcome finally to my review for this week's episode of NXT. I'm going to be taking a look at the December 2nd edition of NXT, and I'm going to give you my overall thoughts and opinions on what I thought of the episode. But before I get to that, I would just like to say my thoughts and prayers go out to all those victims that were affected by the shootings in San Bernardino, California. A number of people, I believe 14 dead, a number of others wounded. Just another senseless act of violence. They're not sure if it's related to terrorism or not, but especially around the Christmas season, it's very tough to see something like this happen, and it's something that occurs all too often in our country. So I would just like to extend my thoughts and condolences with those that have been affected by this tragedy. So with that, let's get into this week's episode of NXT. And boy, what a refreshing show this is to watch. I mean, compared with Raw this week, which I was actually in attendance at. Don't know if I'm gonna make a video on that. It really wasn't that great, and there wasn't much to talk about coming out of it. It was just really a dull, lifeless show. And my grade for Raw would probably be a D+. If I wasn't there, I probably wouldn't watch it. I just had no desire to be there, but I already bought my tickets well in advance, so I had to go, so I had to make the most of it. But we're not talking about Raw. We're talking about a good wrestling product on a week-in, week-out basis that is just consistent. There's character development, storyline progressions, and it's going to build in 2 weeks at NXT TakeOver London. So we kick things off this week on NXT with Baron Corbin making his entrance, and he took on Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10. So this match, it really was just a way to show Corbin's dominance and power, and he was able to make relatively quick work of Dillinger. Dillinger was able to get in some offense, but it wasn't enough. Corbin was able to eventually lock in the End of Days for an impressive, nice victory, and helps to carry over and build his momentum for his upcoming match against Apollo Crews. Crews and Corbin both cut promos in the back after the match, and it's a match that I'm really looking forward to, and it's something that I think both of these guys are very big, physical guys. Corbin has an edge over Crews, but I still think these guys could put on one hell of a match, and it'll definitely surprise people. So it was a good way to get further momentum on Baron Corbin. So I didn't have a problem with the way that the show opened. After this, we had Nia Jax taking on the returning Blue Pants. Has been a long time since we've seen Blue Pants on NXT, and it's refreshing. This show is so fun to watch. I can't, it's just great. The crowd was into this. It was great seeing Blue Pants back, but I knew as soon as I saw her going up against Nia Jax, I knew she didn't have a chance. Nia's really been impressing me week in and week out. She's been doing these squash matches, but it's a good way to build her up. You introduce her on the roster, and she's just this dominant force, and I like how they're, she was with Eva Marie last week, and now it looks like they're going to have Nia Jax face Bayley at NXT TakeOver London, which is a match that I'm very interested to see play out. So, in this match, early on, Blue Pants was, trying to laugh, play around, have a good time, but I knew as soon as she ran into one of Nia Jax's huge clothesline, she really put Blue Pants down, and it didn't take much to finish off Blue Pants, and Nia Jax was able to pin her with the leg drop for the win. So that was that. Then we had a nice backstage interview. Tom Phillips sat down with Dash and Dawson, the NXT Tag Team Champions, and he brought up the fact that in 2 weeks, the returning Enzo Amore and Big Cass are going to be challenging them for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And Dash and Dawson cut a really good promo. They stated how, Big Cass, you're going to have to worry about your other leg because they're going to take it out, and they didn't earn their way to become #1 contenders, and they're going to pretty much wipe the floor with them when it comes to NXT TakeOver London. So that is a newly announced match, and one that I am looking forward to seeing take place at the upcoming TakeOver special. This TakeOver special is going to blow TLC 2015 out of the waters. Unless TLC has a good card, which at this point doesn't look like it, I probably won't be watching it. So I will. Moving on from that, we had James Storm return to Full Sail to take on Adam Rose. It was nice seeing James Storm back in NXT. He made that one appearance, and then I wasn't sure if he was coming back. We were hearing conflicting reports. Would he go back to TNA? What was he going to do? So it looks like he has signed with NXT and will be with them for the long haul. So this was another quick match. Storm was able to get the victory by hitting a neck breaker and then getting the last call super kick, which looks really nice. He hits a really good super kick on Adam Rose for the victory. So I don't know what to say about Adam Rose. I just feel like his character is lost in the shuffle ever since he went to the main roster. They had no idea what to do with the guy. So now, I don't know, you turn him back to Leo Kruger. I would like to see that. I didn't watch NXT at that time when he was Leo Kruger, but I heard it was a very interesting dark character, and I'd like to see them bring it back. Why not? Because the Adam Rose gimmick, I think we can all say it's been so screwed up due to his main roster run that I would give him a chance as Leo Kruger. Why not? Let's see what he can do with it again. Then we had one of my probably my favorite match on the show this week. It was Chad Gable and Jason Jordan versus the Vaudevillians. Before this match, both guys were in the back. They cut a promo against each other. It was pretty good. Gable was like, "We're ready, willing," and Gable. And then the Vaudevillians and them shook hands before this match. And these guys put on a pretty good tag team match. And, there was a lot of, arm drags and, crazy spots. Gable got thrown out of the over-the-top ropes out of the ring. That looked like that hurt. But Jason Jordan and Chad Gable definitely are the most over tag team in NXT. The crowd was hot for them the whole night. I'm interested to see if they have a match at NXT TakeOver London, because as of now they do not. I'm not sure if they would leave them off the card, what's going on, but I definitely see them having a spot on that show, just seeing how over they are as a tag team. But Gable and Jordan were able to get the win after Jordan and Gable were able to hit the grand amplitude and get the 3 count. And after the match, the interesting thing was Jordan and Gable offered to shake the Vaudevillains' hands. However, the Vaudevillains chose not to, and they simply blew them off. And this was surprising, and it's an interesting development. They recently lost their NXT Tag Team Championships. They lost the rematch, and now they lost this match. So what are we going to see happen with the Vaudevillains? It's interesting. I'm curious to see where they go with this. This is something that I like that they do on NXT, unlike on the main roster. Character development. What's going to happen next? No pun intended. So, good match. Good match. Then we had Emma and Dana Brooke cut a promo backstage about their attack on Asuka, how they exposed her and showed the world for what she really was. And then Emma said she's going to go to the ring, and she was in a match against Liv Morgan. We've seen her wrestle before on NXT, and it wasn't really much of a match. It was just a way to make Emma look strong and dominant. Emma was able to get in the Emma lock and make Liv Morgan tap out. But after the match, what I liked is they showed this video on the Titantron of Asuka punching a punching bag, and she said, "At London, I challenge you to a match." So we're going to get Asuka versus Emma at NXT TakeOver London. And then the nice thing was the crowd was chanting, "Asuka's gonna kill you, Asuka's gonna kill you." So I think they could have a really good match. And the card for NXT TakeOver London is really solid right now. Really good card. You got Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. Dash and Dawson versus a Big Cass and Enzo Amore for the NXT Tag Team titles. Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin. Asuka versus Emma. And there was a backstage promo. Bayley was being interviewed. She was talking about what she felt about Nia Jax intimidating threats about wanting to take her NXT Championship. Bayley said she'll be able to overcome all odds, any challenges placed in front of her. And then Nia Jax shows up. She just stares Bayley down. And then she pushes Bayley through a door. And wow, I really like this segment. Bayley's definitely going to have a challenge at NXT TakeOver London because it's going to be Bayley versus Nia Jax for the NXT Women's Championship. So it's definitely the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. And then finally we have our main event match. It was Tommaso Ciampa versus Samoa Joe. It was only a 7-minute match, but it was a really physical match. You could just see the intensity in Samoa Joe's eyes. And he went to work on Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa was able to get some offense in, but you knew as soon as he kept hitting move after move on Joe, and it really wasn't doing much to him. And then eventually, Joe was able to hit a wicked scoop slam on Ciampa, and then after that, he hit the muscle buster for the win. He also hit a sick, boot to the face on Ciampa. Joe was really aggressive in this match, and it's the type of aggression that I expect him to use in his upcoming NXT Championship match versus Finn Balor. And then after the match, he left the Coquina clutch in, laid out Ciampa, and Joe definitely feels like a serious threat, and I could see him beating Balor for the NXT Championship. It's definitely an option that could and can occur. I really like how they built Joe up as this mean, vicious heel who doesn't take any shit. It's awesome, rather than the cowardly, chicken shit heel that we see on the main roster all too often. So overall, I enjoyed this week's episode of NXT. Giving it a B-. Good episode. Check it out if you have the WWE Network. Those are my thoughts on this week's episode of NXT. Let me know down in the comments section below what yins guys thought about this week's episode of NXT. Please click that like and subscribe button for more video content. And with that, I am out. Thanks for watching. Peace.